Welcome to the Sandler Training Hour. You're with your hosts, Jim and Jason Stevens. And this week, Jim, I thought it would be a good to start off with opening question that we run into when we're meeting a prospect for the first time, which is, are they genuine? Is this going to be a good experience? And to a certain degree, this ends up clouding a lot of relationships because what we'll end up talking about today is probably clarity and how if you don't question what someone says, you can start reading into what they don't say. So I wonder if you want to bring us into this conversation. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think if you think about any encounter, we all come into it with an intention that we have that is generally we're trying to be on our best behavior.
Yeah.
But there's an opaqueness about what we think and how we communicate what we think to others that can get so lost in conversation and the things that make sense to me. It can be even something as simple as a metaphor or a colloquialism that is common in my language, maybe or my culture can be totally missed on somebody else. So it's being really deliberate in our words and thinking in terms not so much of what we mean to say, but the message we want the other person to receive.
Yeah. To a large part, this is the rules of engagement that we're starting off with when we determine where we're going in a conversation. If you think about, I did debate in high school, and one of the forms of debate was topicality, which is the definition of terms before you get into the substance. And the idea was that if you're loose with the definition of a term, then you can make arguments or take positions that really don't touch on the intention of what the core conversation was.
Yeah.
And and I think that that might be a way to think through it, which is if we don't have a collected idea on what the terms are that we're talking through, and we're not getting clarity from each other, but still living in, as you said, opaque or undefined circumstances,
Yeah.
then we allow for a lot of conversation to take place without enforcing value to generate.
Yeah, it's that the book that comes to my mind is The Four Agreements.
True.
And I think the first agreement is something like be clear, I think the word is be impeccable in your words. And if that were my intention in every conversation, I would be a much better communicator. But I don't think of that. I think of just I've got to get my message out, and
Yeah.
I'm not really being aware, situationally aware of how best can my message be received by the other person. And in order to do that, I've got to literally translate what would be Jim speak into Jason speak.
Yeah.
So thinking about the other person, what is their behavior style? Where are they from? What is their way of thinking and being? The more I know about the person, the more impeccable I can be in the words that I choose. So, really, being other focused in communication as opposed to self focused. I spent too much of my life trying to prove my point
Yeah.
as opposed to seeking to understand other people's point before I ever make an attempt to provide feedback.
Yeah. You're 100% right there. And another way to look at it is in communication, you just have two people that come together, both of them have scripts running, and it's those scripts interacting based on what they think the conversation is trying to accomplish. So you mentioned this idea of if I am more intentional, you can end a day being exhausted because it is much harder to be present at every moment than it is to autopilot through the scripts that you've accumulated over time. And this matters especially in sales because the scripts that we've accumulated are a means to an end. And that's what can make salespeople feel salesy. It's because the things that we focused on or the techniques that we developed were in truth helping push people in a direction.
Yeah, yeah.
And no one really wants to be pushed. No one wants to be sold, but people do need help buying. So this other focused dynamic that you're framing is out of norms with the traditional sales approach. And to your point, we spend a lot of our lives trying to get what we want accomplished. And it's because the easiest thing to do is to give information away and then check off a task.
Yeah.
Like, what do I have to do today? Oh, I need to confirm. All right, so by confirming, instead of getting buy-in, what I'm going to do is throw it at someone.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and it yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and it's really like playing fetch with a dog. You're like you and humans aren't dogs. They don't enjoy retrieving things. Like the dog will do it repeatedly, but it's easy on you for a dog that fetches. If you try to play fetch with a human, and that's like catch with three bad throws in a row. Three bad throws in a row, and both parties are like, well, let's do something else.
We're done with this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think far too often, if you're in a selling role or any role that requires some level of persuasion, the default mechanism is to lead the witness.
Yeah.
And the stronger your personality type, the more deliberate you'll be and more persuasive in your mind. But to Jason's point, it's more pushy. Now I'm not only leading the witness, but they feel pushed, and that makes them feel alienated. And if you take on the opposite perspective that says, I may be an expert about my subject matter, but I'm not an expert about you. So tell me more about what you're thinking. Now we're asking open-ended questions to our counterpart. We're gathering more information. The information we're gathering from them is going to allow us to have a a more open mindset as opposed to leading them to where we want them to go. And one of the Sandler strategies is negative reverse selling. It's actually taking away the push by saying, is this really something you want to do? I mean, as you think about all of the things on your schedule now and how much you've got going on, is this the right time to take action?
Yeah. To get clear about what's going on is in the service of both you and whoever you're communicating. And if it needs to be that we define terms up front, then so be it. But getting on the same page will protect us of assuming that there's something disingenuous happening. Maybe you think I'm being snaky or suspicious. Maybe I think you are. But if neither of us are articulating it or asking questions, and we both are trying to have a relationship while being suspicious, all we get is a bad relationship and assumptions about future relationships, which won't do either of us anything beneficial or valuable. What will be beneficial is making it a habit to be clear and to ask clarifying questions in most situations to make sure that before we agree to anything, we're on the same page in the conversation. Because doing something together, first and foremost, requires us to speak the same language. And if that's in doubt, then we're going to end up frustrated or maybe just suspicious. And suspicion doesn't serve as the basis of a relationship. So before we sign up off, Jim, any final thoughts?
Well, I think being impeccable with your words requires that you accept reciprocation.
Mm,
So it's seeking it from others as well, and that requires a mindset of curiosity, and then just making sure that when you ask for something, don't take it personally. If you're
yeah.
getting feedback, or if they don't want to move forward with you, that's a good decision because at least we're not chasing.
Yeah, and to your point, if you want clarity from others, be clear and
Yeah,
be comfortable with them asking for clarity.
yeah.
That's us with Sandler Training. If you have any questions about who we are, what we do. You found your way here. Backtrack to our website and reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, be well. Good luck out there.